Alrighty, to get to the shifter bushing is pretty easy. First, we're going to start off removing 4 Phillips head screws on each side so we can pull this cover off and get to the gears. Alrighty, now that we got the cover off, a little trick to being able to remove the key out of the ignition is this little switch right here. If you unplug this, you will be able to remove your key. You'll be able to remove your key out of the ignition. So that's a good thing to do if you're in a jam. Just to show y'all it works, I remove this and I can now take my key out of the ignition. And then you just plug it back and then you can take it off if you need to do it again. But just wanted to show y'all a cool little trick that works. Next, we'll be moving 3 screws, one here, here, and here to get this loosened up. And then there's going to be 3 screws on this. 1, 2, and then there's one back here, so that we can pull that off. And then we'll be removing this bolt. It's through there. We'll be removing this bolt, and the bushings are in this tube right here. So let me go ahead and remove these bolts real quick. Alrighty, we got the new bearings in. It came in a pack of 4, so if this ever happens again, I have more. On this side, I had to rip out the old one. This side, it was completely deteriorated, like there was no bushing at all. So got the 2 new ones in. It's easy if you shift it into a gear. Obviously put the e-brake on, put it in neutral so I can get to it. So now we're gonna slide the bolt back in and assemble it all and see if it works without having to unplug the switch. Already got the new bushings in. I will say it is a little bit of a bitch to get the bolt through again. And also just lining the tube back up with the holes without ripping out the bushings, because it's a very tight fit. So just be prepared for that little fight. It is a little bit annoying, but it's not that hard. So we got that back in. We're going to throw in all these bolts back, and we're going to see if it works and we can pull our key out of the ignition. No problem. Alrighty, we got it all back together. Let's see if the issue is fixed. So put the key ignition. Alright, I'll put it in reverse. So I'll take the parking brake off first. Alright, psych on that. Now we have it fixed. That was a whole freaking debacle. So first off, I had this mounted wrong. You see that little hook and it holds on to the button for the shifter. I did not have that installed correctly, so I had that installed correctly then. And then secondly, the button would not push down enough for me to shift gears in this. So then I thought that, because it was stuck in park, it wouldn't shift gears, which it wasn't doing that before I started messing with it. But anyway, what I do, I was making sure that the brake unlocked this and making sure that that was still good. And then I figured out that there was something wrong with this shifter. And so this right shift bushing was out. There was no bushing in there. So what I think happened was I think they removed that bushing so that this would be angled. You could angle a little bit to the right to get underneath that pattern, so that way you could shift it into other portions. Because if you can shift it to the right towards where you're looking, you can get it through these metal barriers to shift into gears. So I think they did that so they wouldn't have to mess with it, but it was pretty easy. There's 2 bolts. Well, there's no information online about how to freaking do this, I feel like, because I was searching for hours. 2 screws are over here. What I did, it was I took these off of the plastic thing, plastic holders, and unplugged it. That way I had more room with the overdrive wire, because you can't get it up high enough without that. So I removed that so I can pick this whole thing up and put it off to the side. There is a spring-loaded dealio that this button pushes down to let it shift. I rotated that to be pointing this way. It was pointing that way. I rotated it to be pointing this way, so I have maximum, I guess, push down with the button, and now it works. So that was a whole freaking thing, and it was very annoying. This was supposed to be like a 10-minute thing, and it's been a 2-hour thing. So let's get it all assembled back and I'll show you what it looks like. Alrighty, all put back together. Let's give it a try. The ignition. Nice. Really need to fix that vacuum leak. I think also the fuel pressure regulator might need to be replaced because I think the fuel is leaking down into it. But anyway, I need to do more research. Alright, moment of truth. Reverse. It goes into reverse. The button feels better now than it did anyway. I mean, obviously it was broken, so happy I got that figured out now. Now let's try to take the key out. And the key comes out. Look at that. That's a success.